An aging Hollywood celebrity begins to take a black market drug known only as the substance, which uses cell replicating technology in order to create a younger, more beautiful version of herself. Film fans YouTube, hello, welcome back to the channel. I am Josh, your movie apprentice, and today I'm going to be looking at The Substance. Directed by Coralie Fageat and starring the talents of Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, and Dennis Quaid. Before I jump into my review, if you like seeing our channel, click the like button, subscribe for more video reviews that's coming all the time, making sure you're hitting that bell notification as well. But without further ado, let's just jump right into The Substance. The Substance is one of the most unique movies you'll see all year long, and for a good two-thirds to three-quarters of the movie, this was easily probably contending to be my number one movie of the year, because The Substance, I would say outright, is an art house piece of cinema that has been heavily marketed. And those of you going in that have never really watched any sort of French art house cinema before, you are going to be drastically underprepared for what you're about to see, because The Substance is an experience. To start off with, the visual storytelling in this is a film that you can see getting studied by film students many years down the line, talking about the themes and the cinematography and the way it uses visual storytelling to really convey the story. Because while there is a lot of dialogue in this, most of the storytelling beats are done through a visual medium in order to tell us what is going through a character's mind at any particularly given time. The sets, for one, are just absolutely outstanding to look at. The way the cinematography and the sets complement each other very well is honestly brilliant. A long corridor showing the studio and the posters and the evolution of time is a set that lends itself to some very creative cinematography and a sense of almost tunnel vision. The apartment our main character lives in is very wide open but very lonely. There was a lot of space in there for multiple people, but they are very much sat alone in their livelihood. And the way it just uses the visuals to really convey what a character is thinking at any given time is really well done. We don't need to see their reactions or cutaways. We know they are in a room where the discussion is being had, and we know what will likely be going through their mind. The way it conveys shots to really show us little hints where we can put two together on what the character is thinking, leading them to take the decision with the substance, is very understandable. And I will say as well that this film has the most helpful customer service in this. Obviously, as the film progresses forwards, there is a number of complications that do arise through various different reasons. And whenever our lead has to call up the people that gave her the substance to explain and complain about the situation, they tell them straight up exactly what is wrong and how to go about fixing it. And whether the people take the advice or not is a whole nother matter. And it's a very engrossing story. It flows together very well. It's over 2 hours long, this movie. I never felt the runtime drag. As for the themes in this, it does delve into the themes of how fickle Hollywood is, as well as the male gaze through cinematography. There is a great little scene that is reminiscent of Denethor in Return of the King eating them tomatoes, but this time it involves shrimp. And the disgusting nature in which that is shot really shows the hypocrisy of inner Hollywood, because this is a character that comments on the beauty of someone in Hollywood and how they need to get a younger model in order to progress further and really appease the audience, all the while being one of the most gross, unappealing individuals imaginable in this scene. And the contrasting personalities of our main protagonist and the other version of themselves that comes out of them. Like, there is some very grotesque body horror in this. There is a lot of body horror, and I will say it is a very weird film as well. Like, it is really weird. It slowly ramps up to where it goes full-fledged crazy weird, and I dug every moment of this. This film was literally just ticking all my boxes one by one as the film went forward, and using its visual storytelling, using its cinematography, using the implications to really create a sense of dread that you don't see in many movies. There are certain sequences and moments where I don't want to see what is implied, and when we do get the full revelation of these things, they live up to that particular kind of hype. I like the logic of you are one in the same, and in a way, it shows that you are your own worst enemy, as it is very much the same person occupying these two bodies and forms, but they begin to form their own personalities and come to clash at several stages in the movie. Now, that being said, I will say that unfortunately for me, the substance does begin to lull at a certain point. There was a certain point where the rules that are clearly laid out, including a fantastic sequence where we see the instructions and we can put two together exactly what those instructions entail. There's no voiceover or anything. It's very much using the camera and the cinematography and the performances to really convey what the rules are in this world. And it just feels like there's a moment where the rules begin to switch or cease to matter, and it causes a bit of a low. With those lows, there's always a high point that comes along. But like the main protagonist in this, the substance does not know when to call it a day, because there are moments where I felt the film should have ended. There was a beautiful sequence that really sticks with you. And if that had been the last shot of the movie, I would have absolutely adored this film. I would have easily given this 5 stars. But even at that point, the film has to crawl along quite literally for a couple more minutes to really hammer home the point. Like, where does the happiness lie? The male gaze aspect, how the cinematography is done in a very overly sexual way, really calling out us, the viewers, for lusting after these images, whilst also calling out the beauty industry and how it really objectifies the human form. There is just so many layers to this movie. I expect to see a lot of video essays about this and see this studied later down the line. This is an experience of a movie. It's a proper art house film that is being promoted to the masses, and like it or hate it, you are going to talk about it. That's the thing with this movie. When we get into that bonkers crimson crescendo of a final act, you will remember it and you're going to talk about it. And that's the most powerful thing of all, the word of mouth, which I absolutely loved. Had this film not struggled with its pacing in the final act, and had it actually known when to call it a day, this would easily be my favorite film of the year. But for now, all I can really say is it's an outright experience that if you are any sort of film fan, just give it a shot. Because live it or hate it, you're going to remember it. And sometimes that's what you need, that cinema experience that's going to stick with you for some time. You could pinpoint the exact moment in my theater where the movie might have lost a few people, because the crowd I was in were perfect the whole way through until a certain point, and then you started hearing the little snickers, the what the fucks, the shock. There are several little hints at when the movie might lose people, and it lost people at different points, but it's a ride of a movie. Before I get into my gravy, like saying on the channel, click the like button, subscribe for more reviews that's coming all the time. But without further ado, let's get into the grade. I didn't mention before, but performances are really good in this. Margaret, Qualley, and Demi Moore's two characters are brilliant to see. Demi Moore is absolutely outstanding in this. And Dennis Quaid just plays this great slimy producer. Like, he is the over-the-top cartoon caricature, almost Saul Goodman style, in how casual he is with his sexism and his objectification. He only cares about the stockholders and the numbers. And whilst the script does get kind of beat you over the head with the casual sexism in the industry, it still works. It's a very bizarre film. It gets very weird. It's very entertaining outside of a few pacing issues and how the rules kind of trip over themselves at times, especially in the final act. I really enjoyed the experience of watching this movie. And I'm going to have that say, for me, The Substance is a great cup of tea. So, The Substance, have you seen it? If you have, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Coming up on the channel, I'll be reviewing Strange Darling tomorrow, which is another film that had some interesting ways of telling its story. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, everybody, I am Josh. I've been Movie Apprentice, and I'll see you all in the next video.